Here are 3 West Ham fans. They've been stuck in a room together to find out if all West Ham fans think the same. The idea is really simple. I read out a statement like this: West Ham are massive. And then the West Ham fans move left or right depending on whether they strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. If you enjoy this concept, make sure to leave a like. If we get to 2,000 likes on this video, I will do a do all Liverpool fans think the same. Now let's get into the content. I thought you were going to be all straight over there. How come you're not strongly agree? What's going on?
Yeah, I went slightly agree. I don't think we're, I feel like people would take everything what we do with irony so serious. But listen, we're massive and people can't stop us. So. We've won a trophy, mate. We've got to be massive.
Yeah, I don't know what that's like, so you know what? Back to the middle. That's easy one to start off with. Moyes is the greatest manager West Ham has ever had.
Ever had. Ever had is mad.
Cool, we've got one in. Is that strongly agree?
That's going to be an agree.
Agree.
Ever had is mad.
I would go disagree. Yeah. If he's not first, he's second.
I'm going to go for agree because there's not many managers that have taken us to consistently in Europe, have won a trophy. There's not many. And in my lifetime, he's certainly the best. I'm not strongly agree, it's not definite, but for me, he's definitely top 3 I've ever had.
Obviously, he's definitely top 3. The reason why I'm slightly disagree is because he's the best in my lifetime. I don't think he's the best in West Ham history. I can't speak for John Lyall and Ron Greenwood. They've won more trophies, I think, than David Moyes. But David Moyes is definitely top 3, and he's way better than some of the managers I've seen. I've seen Slaven Bilic, he was all right. I've seen Pellegrini. I've seen Avram Grant.
I'd say, yeah, he's the best manager of my lifetime, but we're talking about generations of football, and as hard as it is to compare, managers from yesteryear, we're talking about managers from 1980, our last cup win, a 2023 cup win for David Moyes. They're very, very different. If we talk about the weight of the cups and what they meant to teams at the time, an FA Cup was gigantic for an English football team comparatively to what the size of a Conference League is. As important as that win is, but at the time, the FA Cup was like footballing royalty, and West Ham won that in the 80s. So John Lyall, Ron Greenwood probably won bigger trophies. And then of course, on the other side of it, you've got David Moyes has obviously delivered European football on a consistent basis, but he has spent more than any other West Ham manager ever, so he's had more of a war chest available to him comparatively to everyone else. So David Moyes is the best manager of my lifetime, but I wouldn't be confident in saying he's the best of all time.
The London Stadium is better than Upton Park.
Can I go offset?
Or you're just completely out the window?
Yeah.
Disagree, yeah.
Okay, so not strongly.
No, well, again, I've been fortunate to go to a lot of football grounds around the world through my work and whatnot. The best atmosphere I've ever been in was the home win against Sevilla, and that was in the London Stadium. They're very, very different things. I think the London Stadium is very much like kind of symptomatic of where football is now, but much more as commercial entities. Teams aren't your local kind of salt of the earth type things where West Ham naturally come from. Nowadays, they are a commercial, global brand that tries to attract fans from all over the world. So they're a different thing entirely. It's never going to be Upton Park, but it can be rocking. And when it is rocking, it gives you a good atmosphere.
If we're talking purely as a football stadium, it's not a football stadium. It still really hasn't been changed as much since it was built in the first place, since we moved there. And we've proven that you can create an atmosphere there. But that's only mainly for big games. There's not really any incentive for anyone to create an atmosphere there because everyone's so far away. Like if one person's making a chant from one stand, you can barely hear it. And it's not really built for a football stadium in general, in my opinion.
I was in favour of the stadium move. I think it was probably for the best for the club. However, it's been executed so poorly. Nearly impossible to create an atmosphere there because everyone's so spread out. Prices of the tickets might be all right, like season tickets all right, but the prices for to buy an individual ticket, the price to buy a burger, a beer.
I must say, I went to West Ham away. I think it was last year, the year before, and I think it was $8.50 a pint or something like that, which was outrageous.
And that's all part for me. That's all part of the stadium, and that's all part of the overall discontent we feel towards that ground.
Declan Rice is a West Ham legend.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
Again.
Just agree?
Just about. Listen, we won a trophy. He was captain to win a trophy. So I wouldn't argue. The thing is, if I could stand in the middle, I would. I wouldn't argue it either way if someone said he wasn't a legend because he didn't, spend more of his time after winning the trophy, or maybe we were a better team or whatever. But what more could he do, really, in my opinion? Moving from West Ham to Arsenal has never really been a thing where it's not must, you can't do that kind of thing.
What about you guys being strongly?
Probably could make our best ever 11. Potentially. I can probably count on one hand the amount of times we've won a trophy and he's captained us. For that reason, he's a legend. And for him to get 100 million, he left on what was good till he fighted till the end. left 100 million, we reinvested that pretty well. No issue with him going to Arsenal at all.
Just to jump on that, I know it seems like everyone here doesn't really have much of a problem going to Arsenal. Of course, it hurts seeing him go to another London rival and whatnot, and I think that's where a lot of the discontent from some West Ham fans comes from. You know, within a few weeks, he's singing North London Forever and all sorts of things like that. It kind of doesn't sit right with a lot of West Ham fans, but if you look at him in a West Ham shirt, you know, he's the first captain in 40 odd years really to get us a trophy. You know, he left for a record transfer fee. He's clearly a top bloke. So for me, he's a West Ham legend, you know.
I trust the board to help us progress as a club. Now, this might divide some opinions.
Yeah.
Disagree.
I'm going to go with agree. Ooh. I am going to go with agree. Ooh. I am. I'm going to have to go first, aren't I?
Yeah, definitely going to have to go first.
I'm not just doing this to be controversial. Again, I think a lot of the points that you guys have said have been valid. There's been a lot of oversights on things like the stadium move and whatnot. But you have to look at, you know, as unpleasant as it's been at times for a lot of fans, and we only have to go back to, you know, the Burnley game and the fan riots and whatnot. We know it hasn't always gone swimmingly and whatnot, but the board have done a lot of good things around West Ham. Even outside of the men's side, they've really helped establish the WSL side, and now they're a top flight team in the women's game. I think on the men's side, we've seen the side go from a side that's relegation threatened to now being a side that is consistently in Europe. Has there been things that they've done wrong? We can all sit here and say, yeah, but I would say there's been more good than bad, in my honest opinion. I know that's going to rile a lot of fans, but, you know, these are the glory years for me as a West Ham fan. I'm not used to us being in Europe, let alone 3 years in a row, getting to a semi-final, getting to a final, you know, and now going into a round of 16, you know. I don't expect these things, and they've all come under this board.
I feel like some of the criticism they get is a little bit harsh. I think it was probably fair a couple of years ago, but I feel like they have actually changed. They have appointed that director of football that we've all been crying out for, but I still feel like they're just a little bit not holding us back. I think that would be harsh, but maybe trust Stein a little bit more, or trust our director of football a little bit more, and that can really be a difference between us, you know, maintaining this sort of push for top six.
For me, the reason why I'm here is more of a lack of trust for David Sullivan, for the things he's done over the years. I think ever since Moyes has come in, I've been meaning to trust the board a bit more, because Moyes has taken a lot more over the recruitment side of stuff. I feel like the only way that I can really trust the board is if they're fully in line with the director of football that he hired himself, David Sullivan. He was the one that appointed him. So as long as he's aligned with him and Moyes, or whoever is next, maybe at the end of the season, then yeah, fine. But the reason why I'm slightly disagree is because lack of trust over the years for me. I've not really trusted David Sullivan over the years.
I want Millwall to get promoted so that we can face them in the Premier League.
Get it.
Oh,
Straight away.
So we've got two strongly agrees, is that?
Yeah.
And then we've got one disagree.
Yeah.
All right, go on. Chat, why you guys got different opinions?
Look, anyone who saw the video that I did with the London rivals, I was sick to my stomach after I left here, thinking that those Arsenal and Tottenham fans thinking the North London derby is the biggest derby. What happened the last time West Ham and Millwall played each other, like over 10 years ago? Fan riots, ridiculous scenes. That's what a derby is. That's the kind of emotion that surrounds big derby games. Arsenal and Tottenham, North London derby, it's a big game, but they play each other 4 times a year. Do you know what I mean? West Ham, Millwall come into the league. That's huge. That's football royalty. You know what I mean? Green Street. Everyone loves Green Street.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Let's bring it on. I'm ready for it. Every time, let's be real, every time there's an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup draw, we're like, let's have Millwall. Let's have Millwall. I've been to so many games. I've been lucky enough to go to the final. I've seen us get relegated. I've never seen us play Millwall and being there for it. So let's bring it on.
Almost to your point, though, if they did get promoted and say they were to stay in the Premier League for the next 10 years, hypothetically, does that then devalue the rivalry? Like you're saying, how we face Arsenal 4 times a year is not as interesting because it happens a lot. Do you think that might then happen between you guys and Millwall, or do you think it will still be a tasty affair no matter what?
It'll always be a bit tasty. Yeah, definitely. I think when you do play each other so much, I think it does devalue it a little bit, but I feel like we haven't played each other. It's been over 10 years?
Yeah, it's been over 10 years.
It won't be devalued anytime soon.
I think that people have been talking about the North London derby for 20 years. Ever since Arsenal fans got microphones, you know what I mean, and Twitter accounts.
Blame MFTV.
That's the only time we started talking about the North London derby. There's an Arsenal fan off camera, it's huge. But you're talking about 100 years of history in Millwall, West Ham, and it's the same with a lot of derbies up and down the country. And I think if these teams played each other more regularly, you'd understand how grand the scale is and how big the games are emotionally.
I personally wouldn't mind an occasional cup game with Millwall. But they nearly got promoted in the playoff. They nearly got into the playoffs last season. The last day against Blackburn, they were like 3-1 up and lost 4-3. I took a lot of joy in just them suffering instead. I can't lie. I'm evil. I just want them to just suffer. They're in a relegation battle right now and to go into League One. I don't really care for them. I think they live for West Ham Millwall. I think we've got bigger fish to fry.
But imagine if they come up to the Prem and got relegated.
Don't get me wrong, that would be sick. But
You'd be strongly agree on that, surely.
I would.
West Ham or a London feeder club?
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry to hit you with some brutal.
No, sorry, I went the wrong way.
Okay, you were teetering on a
No,
green.
I went, no, I can't do that. I think you're talking about football as a wider kind of game, you know. Clubs sell their best players to bigger clubs. That's consistent with everyone. West Ham will buy Jarrod Bowen from a Hull. We're a much bigger club than them, but then we're as equally likely for a bigger club to then come to take Jarrod Bowen off us. We bought Lucas Paquetá from a Lyon. You could argue we're better than them. Man City want to come in and buy him. I don't think it necessarily makes us a feeder club. I think it's just kind of symptomatic of what football is. The best clubs in the world buy the best players. That's the life of a football fan if you're not a fan of the top six, respectfully. And even the top six see it. You know, Chelsea fans see Eden Hazard go to Real Madrid. Tottenham fans, how many players have you seen leave over the years? Arsenal fans.
Man City raided Arsenal.
Yeah, Man City come and raided Arsenal 10 years ago. Does that make them feed a club to Man City? I don't necessarily think so. I just think, you know, teams that can pay more buy the best players. When we had Declan Rice, for example, we all knew Declan Rice would leave eventually. It was kind of just like, you know, let's enjoy him while he's here. Same with Dimitri Payet, same with all these kind of mercurial players over the years. We see it with Lucas Paquetá now. There's probably an expectance that he'll leave the club eventually. And we just enjoy him while they're here. But that's just consistent with fans up and down the country, I think.
The reason why you guys aren't strongly disagree?
Yeah, I think I agree. It's where we are in the food chain, really. That we're always going to, if we can sell to a bigger club, then it shows we did our business right to get him in the first place and create that player. I'm not strongly disagree because I feel like we do sell players on. The ones that, you know, our best players do often leave us. So it's true to a certain extent, but that's just where we are in the league. It's where we are as the size of our club.
I just think feeder club may be a bit exaggerated because if you look at clubs maybe like Brighton, clubs like Ajax, like they literally have intentions to sometimes sell their best players so they can reinvest it back into their squad. I don't think we're yet at a point where we've got so many players that we're going to sell for profit and then reinvest them into our squad every season. So that's why I'm not completely like okay, yeah, West Ham are a feeder club, but that's why I'm here for now. Because the only big player we sold it went for a lot of money in recent times is Declan Rice from what I know.
You said London feeder club as well, right? Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, 'cause Ajax are a bigger side than us.
Yeah.
Historically and probably, you know, as a club, they are just generally better than us. And we went and signed two of their best players. Does that make them a feeder club to us? I just don't see it that way, you know? Yeah.
Kudus is West Ham's best summer signing from this summer.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Got some big names. You've got Kudus, Ward-Prowse, even Edson Alvarez.
I'll go with disagree on this one. I promise you I'm not doing this on purpose. I really am not doing this on purpose. I think personally, I don't think you can put the signing down to a single player. I think the acquisition of Edson Alvarez and James Ward-Prowse have very much filled the Declan Rice hole. Kudus is, you know, he's the star boy. He is the star boy. He's probably our best player, but we didn't need him as much as what we needed an Edson Alvarez and a James Ward-Prowse, in my opinion. Kudus will be the next type player that could go for 100 million at West Ham, but Edson Alvarez is understated. James Ward-Prowse is the most West Ham signing that you can think of.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? So those two for me, I think, are bigger signings, but Mohamed Kudus is the biggest coup, you know?
It swayed me a bit, I can't lie. I'll go agree, because I think with Mohamed Kudus is definitely the best player, but I think you made a great point is that we didn't, no one even expected us to even sign him. People thought that he was the Paquetá replacement, but we got both. And the Ward-Prowse and Alvarez one has to come into account that we fielded a voice for Declan Rice. We've got somebody who's a ball winner and somebody who's a bit more of a box-to-box. When I look at all the players, what I do like about all of the players, they are literally West Ham players. One's an entertainer, one's a strong ball winner, one's an England international, a decent player, one's just a hard hit centre-back, it's good on the ball. I feel like they're good. They're all decent signings. Some of them maybe needs a bit more time than the others, but I'll stay with agree for now.
No, I hear your point. Alvarez is probably we seem to crumble without him. Kudus is our best signing because about 40 million, I think, and he'll go for double that at least. So and then we reinvest the similar way that we've done to Rice, and we just keep that cycle going. This should be the idea.
I prefer entertaining football with a mid-table finish than pragmatic football and a potential European place finish.
Come on.
Nah.
Mate.
Yeah, I've got it.
Lads, we're West Ham fans.
Yeah.
We've seen entertaining football in relegations. Do you know what I mean? Like,
See, that's interesting just because maybe it's because it's online culture and what you see, but there's obviously a lot of talk about the way you guys are playing. Obviously, because it's probably been a bad start to the year for you guys. But there's been a massive talk about we should bring entertaining football back to West Ham, but it's...
what does that really mean?
Joe, I will say is that as much as I don't think the football is good now, it's more for the fact that I feel like it's just more the fact that we're out of form. I'm not a style of football merchant. I just think we need to get more of the better out of the attacking players that we have right now. I don't want to just settle for mid-table and just play entertaining football. I don't even really care about the football as much as long as we're getting to a level that I think the club should get to with the players that we have, rather than having football over positions. I don't agree with that, to be honest.
I can understand both sides of the argument. I can understand, hard-working fans spending all week, looking forward to going to the football, paying their hard-earned money for a season ticket, going to the weekend and seeing absolute dross. I can understand why fans want to kind of, disagree with the approach of the football inside. But I think, let's look at the final, for example. We were the second best side in that game, and we won the final. Does anyone remember how we played? No, not really. Not really. I remember the best night of my life in Prague. Do you know what I mean? We were the second worst side and we won that game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A lot of the games this year, when we played Arsenal away, beat them 2-0, when we beat Brighton, had less than 30% possession. We were the worst sides in all these games, but we were just potent in our attack.
I mean, I'd even argue, are we the worst side? Our tactics were spot on, and we got it bang on against it in the arm. We beat Arsenal.
Just through the focus
we frustrated them.
Sorry to interrupt, but just for the focus of attractive football.
Yeah.
We're the second worst side. I'd agree with you, mate. I think whoever gets the 3 points at the end of a game is the better side that day.
We're not the best to watch. It is frustrating when you see our lineup with Kudus, Payet, and then we struggle to create chances. That is frustrating. I get the point about the criticism towards Moyes, but at the same time, if we do continue to qualify for Europe, if we do continue to make the latter stages of cup competitions, and that's the best we're going to get. And it doesn't really matter the style of play if we're winning and we're getting nights abroad, that will stay with us forever. So
I don't think we have to have a total football approach to kind of get there. Maybe to get to the next step, we might have to get there. But right now, we've seen pragmatic football bring us a trophy win, and a European semi-final the year before.
Payet was a better free kick taker than James Ward-Prowse.
Oh, it's too early. It's too early.
Sure, I'm going to reduce it down to a West Ham shirt.
Oh.
To a West Ham shirt.
all right then, yeah.
James Ward-Prowse, he's one away from the record. Clearly an incredible free kick taker. You're talking about up there with the elites of football, David Beckham and whatnot. But I think Dimitri Payet did things with the football that I've never seen. The goal against Crystal Palace, the free kick, the goal against Man United, the free kick. Two of the most mesmerising things you will see in a football pitch in your lifetime. And I think as a Tottenham fan, you can probably agree with that.
Oh, those free kicks were immense.
Exactly.
The technique was ridiculous for those.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't play in the league for long. Who's to say that if he had hundreds of games in the Premier League, he wouldn't be up there with James Ward-Prowse anyway. But yeah, for me, that's top level for me.
If we're talking in general of who's a better free kick taker, then I'd say Ward-Prowse. But for West Ham, it's definitely Payet because Ward-Prowse hasn't scored one yet. But I think there's so much pressure on Ward-Prowse scoring one that every time he gets a free kick, everyone's like, this is the one that's going to go in.
Feels like it has to go in.
It has to happen eventually.
He's going to get the record, surely.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember I was at the game where he scored against Palace and I was like, I can't believe what I've just seen, sort of thing. Like, when it comes to just purely West Ham shirt, I'd be on that side. If we're talking in general, who's a better free kick taker, I'd say Ward-Prowse in general. We're still seeing him score plenty for Southampton.
Payet for me, Payet was probably the best player we've ever seen.
He's my best.
Yeah,
my best.
It was only for a short spell. It was for probably a season and a half, but he was absolutely ridiculous. The free kicks. It was, I don't know how many he scored in these peak season, but it was probably about 4, 5, and each of them were unbelievable efforts. And Ward-Prowse is obviously a great set piece taker. Ward-Prowse probably a better crosser of the ball. I feel like to take corners and that, I think his delivery suits, but just for the shooting, Payet, yeah.
Are there any managers, if he were to leave, that you would fancy at West Ham or you would like at West Ham?
Yeah, there's this Australian geezer in North London.
Yeah,
lovely. I love him.
There's no
I love
good
him, mate.
Yeah,
anywhere.
Klopp's not working next season, is he? I mean,
Can you imagine Ange in West Ham? That'd be the best marriage ever, by the way. Can you imagine?
Throw up
Can you imagine
violently in front
Ange,
of
we're
you
happy, mate.
on your shirt. If that happened. If you want to check out some Premier League rivals clashing, then please click on this video right now.